Google Analytics 4 fails at tracking conversions. Here's why and how to fix it. Google Analytics 4 is a powerful tool. However, it has three major flaws with the way it tracks and reports conversions that can cause you a lot of harm to your marketing team's ability to understand what's going on with this customer journey and the insights to glean from that data, and then the actions to take to grow your business. The three flaws are around new versus returning users, around the customer journey or lack thereof, and all the conversions it reports to direct. Out of all the issues, those three flaws are the ones that are going to cause you the most harm. So let's break down each so you understand what's happening, and then also why it's happening, and then what to do about it so that you, if you're going against your competition and they're relying on GA4 and you have a superior way to do this, that's an edge. So first, let's talk about direct conversions. If you go into Google Analytics, you are going to see a large chunk of your conversions attributed to direct. A direct conversion means someone typed in your website, went straight there, and then bought. Seems great. However, that is like horse blinders. You're basically ignoring how did they get to the point where your website was on the tip of their tongue. Because unless you're a household brand or you're spending a ton of money on TV or podcast advertising, both of which actually could be tracked, people didn't just wake up, think of the problem that your product's going to solve, and then type in the domain and you struck gold. No, marketing did a job from 1 day to 180 days in the past that led them on some sort of unique customer journey that turned into the direct conversion. When you're just looking at direct conversions, you would think, wow, I should spend more on branding or on SEO because my direct conversions are higher. But all of those efforts can be tracked from what first led them to the brand, and it's unlikely they just direct converted. So I have a big beef with direct conversions because it doesn't provide any insight, and it makes you think that all our branding is working great. The second major issue with Google Analytics 4 in conversion tracking is how it designates new versus returning user. They use a 7-day window because of limitations that they have related to legal things around how they're using all this data gathered. So they are now restricted because, of course, Google could track longer and report longer, but they're just not allowed to for various reasons that aren't important right now. Just know that that's the way it is. So when you're in the data looking at a new user and you think, oh, look at all this new traffic I'm driving, that traffic's only new in the past week. Think of how many times you've interacted with a website. Occasionally, life comes up. You don't visit the same website over and over the same week all the time. You're sometimes going to get busy and not show up for a week. Well, then in their Google Analytics, you show up as new. Versus if you're coming repeatedly in the week, you're returned. This is massively misleading. As someone who's been in attribution for over 10 years and literally 25,000 hours of doing it with a team of experts that pores over logs of gory, detailed visit logs of how people come to websites, conversions take time. People take time to become a customer, and it's often longer than a week. More likely longer than a week than not. So if you're making a decision based on what's driving new traffic, which is the lifeblood of any marketing funnel, getting new visitors into your marketing funnel for all that juicy retargeting. If you're acting on Google Analytics 4 data and thinking that when it shows new, you actually drove real new eyeballs, you're going to misallocate your budget, waste money, and be banging your head wondering why you're not growing and hitting your MER goals or your revenue targets. You're not going to hit them because you're not getting enough brand new visitors to your website, keeping that flow going through the funnel. So that's a huge miss. if you're looking at Google Analytics for new versus returning user data. Related to that, new versus returning customer acquisition is a huge thing to dial in, because what makes someone a new customer is gold. You need to know, how did I acquire brand new customers? It's a very different path and journey, and hopefully the cost is not out of control for the new customers. But if you're not aware of what's new versus repeat, you could think, wow, I have a great customer acquisition cost. I can scale this campaign. And it's just all retargeting people that may be closing on email or SMS or on the ad, but they already knew about the brand. You got to find out what journeys and paths are getting net new customers, because that's how you scale, getting new customers in that then go into your retention funnels for repeat. And there's really no concept of that in Google Analytics 4 either. That's related to the new versus returning users, new versus returning customers. It's kind of like an afterthought. You can't do that without accurate first-party data continually being pumped in and cross-referenced against the clicks to make sure the clicks actually turn into a new customer in your Shopify, WooCommerce, or other shopping cart system. It's the only way to know for sure. The third issue and big flaw with Google Analytics 4 is the lack of visibility into the start of the customer journeys, the first click that got going. Because if you had to analyze any click at all, the most important one would be the very first click, because that's the one that first got the journey started. Now, that data has to be pristine and accurate. Google using its last 7 days doesn't cut it. You need to know what started the journey that led to direct, or led to an email conversion, or led to an SMS, or however they can, or your Google brand. You need to know the first click or the first couple clicks, that top of the funnel. That's what's most important. And it's pretty much ignored using that 7-day tracking cookie. So I'm sorry I've been twisting the knife so much here, but fortunately there are alternatives. Now, the way to fix Google Analytics 4 issues is, first of all, don't rely on it for guidance on how to allocate your budget. That would be just, that's like throwing money out the window, lighting it on fire. It's not what you should do, because the data is so misleading. What you need to do is have first-party data from your shopping cart and your CRM and your website traffic all commingled in, so that you know when a click arrives, is it a brand new click? Is it a brand new person we've never seen that's just visited our website? Because that's going to make sure that your top of the funnel audiences are driving fresh eyeballs. That's the first thing. Then you need to know, when someone makes a purchase, was it a new customer or was it a repeat customer? Because you can't pile them together to determine what you're buying a customer at. You need to be able to know what you're buying a new customer at, which is NCAC, new customer acquisition costs. And you can't do that unless you have the shopping cart data in there. You also need the CRM data, because you need to know those people that haven't converted, but they're in your CRM, they're not new visitors. So when they click to the website, they are a returning visitor. They already are familiar with your brand, and they should be only assessed against retargeting results, not in the top of the funnel results. That's another thing to keep track of. And for those of you with longer funnels that have like, you get a first click and then you've got to opt in to do something and then you buy, you need to know that point of conversion that generated the new lead. And you only know for sure it's new if you have the CRM data in the mix. So it all starts with a foundation. You can't have accuracy without the right data sources being used correctly. So you have to start there, because you can't get new customer acquisition costs. You can't get new visitors attributed to a campaign and then see how much new customer revenue is coming out. Without those, and because these Google Analytics 4 flaws, you're going to be stuck on this treadmill where you keep trying new offer ideas, new ad sets, you keep trying, banging your head against the wall with new experiments, because you can't seem to get things going. But Google Analytics 4 has actually steered you wrong through these data issues. So I hope that helps you. now understand why Google God, I can't say. So I hope this helps you understand why Google Analytics 4 fails at tracking conversions. Hopefully, I've given you some guidance on what is needed to help fix it. Thank you.